last time I visited these mountains, we at Overdrive came here with an army of the top-of-the-line adventure motorcycles. All of us had our own picks. And I had picked the R1250 GS from that entire lineup. And looks like the market also responded in a similar manner, because you see the 1250 GS has been the best-selling GS of all times. So when they wanted to create a new one would expect all they had to do was give it some design tweaks, add some electronics, give it a few more features, and it would have been an instant hit. But BMW decided to go back to the design board, design the GS from the ground up, all new, every nut and bolt, all new. Was it really necessary? Or did they just mess up a winning formula? And if you're looking to buy yourself a flagship ADV, should you consider this one? If you already have a 1200 or a 1250 GS, should you consider upgrading? All these answers are going to be in this review, so hang on tight.
One glance at the R1300 GS reveals a more streamlined look than its predecessors. While many fans appreciate the GS for its heft and road presence, the new model lacks that imposing size, almost making the black variant resemble a GS 310 or 900 in the rearview mirror. However, the lighter design appeals to a significant number of prospective buyers who previously found the bulk of the GS intimidating, deterring them from even considering a test ride. From this perspective, the big headline is that the 1300 GS is 12 kgs lighter.
Notice the tubular frame and subframe on the 1250 GS. Now compared to that, the 1300 gets a lighter stamped sheet metal mainframe and an aluminium subframe. The new geometries have also allowed the designers to engineer the engine in such a way that the gearbox now sits under the cylinders instead of behind the cylinders like you have on the 1250. What that has essentially done is liberated more space for some of the other mechanical goodies.
Like a longer swing arm, for example, which gives the motorcycle better stability through corners and at speed, while maintaining a similar wheelbase to the outgoing model. The added mass of the new swing arm and the shaft is offset by a lighter engine and gearbox, saving 6.5 kilos, plus another 1.5 kilos from the new chassis and 900 grams from the wheels. These reductions, though modest on paper, contribute to a tighter mass centralization, enhancing the bike's overall balance and agility. The GS has always felt nimble around corners, but the 1300 dives into them with more sharpness than before. The cylinders sit higher, offering better cornering clearance than before. The repositioned cylinders are also more in line with each other compared to the 1250, where the right cylinder sat a little behind and seemed to offer less room for the foot. Higher overall position not only provides more room now, but also makes the cornering clearance feel slightly better and more confidence-inspiring. The improved cooling system has allowed BMW to make the 1300 engine a high compression one, boasting a ratio of 13.3:1, which means it could be more sensitive to bad or low octane fuel. Apart from the boxer engine, the other magic portion that separates the GS from its rivals is the unique suspension. Unlike most motorcycles which use forks for wheel support, steering and front-end suspension, the GS employs a tele-lever setup. Here, a central spring strut handles suspension and damping, while the forks manage the braking dive and holding the wheel, of course. This results in minimal nosedive under cornering or braking, giving the GS a distinctive feel. The 1300 GS offers 5 levels of damping adjustments that you can manually set in 3 presets: road, dynamic and enduro. Engaging any of these riding modes will apply the corresponding damping settings to the suspension. If you are an adventure tourer, as the GS expects you to be, the in-saddle experience of the 1300 is comparable to the 1250. As before, the suspension will auto-level and adjust preload to accommodate the weight of your pillion and luggage. However, you cannot manually lower the bike anymore like you could with the 1250 GS, which is a bit of a bummer. Unlike the 1250 GS, the seat isn't adjustable. You have to gamble and order your fixed seat height when booking the 1300 GS, which is a step back in my opinion. The rider triangle is quite relaxed, and standing up to ride is easier on the 1300 thanks to the narrower seat profile. Enough has been said about the styling of the new GS, and I won't dwell on it. You will either love it or hate it.
We finally have an electronically controlled visor mechanism, and that's a good feature to have, because the previous one you had to use your hands to just reach out all behind the TFT and then turn it around. Here you can just do it on the fly using a little switch, and it just works really well.
On the move, I found the weather protection to be excellent, maybe even better than the 1250, with very little buffeting. The bike also offers heating functions for the seat and the grips, perfect for cold or wet rides.
The new 1300cc engine is the largest and the most powerful boxer engine that the GS has ever had. While the 1250 GS isn't a slouch, the additional power, meteor torque band, and a taller 6th gear make the 1300 GS feel better at overtakes, city tractability, and highway cruising respectively. BMW has enhanced the braking performance of the new GS. It now features combined braking, where engaging one brake, front or rear, partially applies the other as well. Attracting riders of various skill levels is what the 1300 GS aims to do, with its friendlier lean stance, myriad of electronic aids, weight reduction, and easy handling dynamics. It refines the GS experience for existing owners and redefines it for new riders. Would I upgrade from a 1250 GS though? No. The price to benefit ratio simply doesn't justify an upgrade cost, which would be around 8 to 10 lakh rupees.